Once you've created the visual identity, we then need to actually move on to sourcing and preparing assets for our main graphic. And that falls onto this second bullet point here. Create the other assets for your digital products. And we need to create and source assets. And we need to prepare and save the assets for use in our travel guide cover. If I scroll down to the mark scheme, you can see here that you need to make sure that there is a use of technical skills to prepare your assets and make sure that they are used effectively. And you need to make sure that all of your assets are prepared for use in that digital graphic to get that Mark Band 3 top bracket. So when I start preparing my first asset, I'm going to go to File, go to Open, and select my first asset to edit. Before I start editing, I need to evidence what it looked like originally. So I'm going to go using Snipping Tool. You're going to print screen your original picture, copy it, and then you're going to add it to a table with headings that look similar to mine. And then you're going to make it smaller, make it a little bit more readable. And then we're going to fill out the dimensions box before we start editing it. So going back to Photoshop, we're going to go to Image, Image Size, and you can see here it gives me some information. 913 pixels by 725 pixels with a DPI of 72. So I'm going to go add that to my Word document. So first of all, I'm going to write 913 pixels by 725 pixels with a DPI of 72. I'm then going to go back to my Photoshop file, and now I can start editing it. And the first thing I need to do is unlock the layer by double clicking the background and then pressing OK. I'm then going to use the Magic Wand tool, which is the fourth one down. Using the Magic Wand tool, click the background and delete it away. You can see now it's going to have a transparent background for me to use on my final graphic. I'm then going to press Ctrl and D to deselect the area, and now I want to fill in the middle here. So once I've done that, I'm going to go to the Paint Bucket tool. Using the colour selector here, I've pre-selected my colour. I'm going to press OK, fill in my area, and that is my asset almost prepared. I'm then going to go to Image, Image Size, and I'm going to change my DPI here to 300, and now this file is going to be quite large. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change this here to probably about 500 pixels by 397 pixels, and then I'm going to press OK in just a second. But before I do that, I'm going to go evidence this in my document again. So going back to my document, there's dimensions file column here, and I'm going to add these new dimensions. 500 pixels by 397 pixels with a new DPI 300. Going back to my Photoshop file, I'm going to press OK. That's going to change the size of the asset so it's made a little bit smaller. Again, I'm going to print screen this, take a copy of it, going back to my Word document, go to the prepped image section, and I'm going to show how I have changed it. And then in here, I'm just going to add a quick comment on how it was prepped. So here I'll talk about the Magic Wand tool, how I've used the Fill Bucket tool, I've used the color selector, and I have used an image resize on it. What I might want to do is going back to it. I can again use the effects tool here and add a stroke onto it if I wanted to, and I can make the outline of it a little bit bolder. I think it was 3 that looks pretty good, and this just makes it a little bit more defined. So I can also use that as evidence on my preparation of assets. Once my asset is ready and I've finished it, I need to go to File, I need to go to Save As, and what I need to do actually is go into my prepped assets folder, and I need to save it as a PNG ready for use in my asset later on. I'm going to keep the name the same, press Save, and then I'm going to press OK, and that is now ready in my folder to be used on my final graphic. I can then go to File, and I can then go to Save, and I can save the Photoshop document in the prepped assets folder as well as a PSD file in case I need to go back and edit it later on. Once I've created my first asset, I'm then going to create my second asset. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Open, and I'm going to go back into my assets table. I'm just going to find my assets folder, And inside my assets folder, I've got my second asset. I'm going to click it, press open. And again, it's going to open like so. And I'm going to double click the background layer again, press OK, and that has now unlocked the layer, ready to edit. But before I start editing it, I'm going to go to image size, and I'm just going to note down the image sizes here. Now, as you can see, this one is already 300 pixels per inch, so I don't really need to modify it too much, but I'm just going to document it anyway. So on my Word document, in the dimensions box here, I'm going to put 612 pixels by 558 pixels with a DPI of 300. And then I'm going to press OK on Photoshop, take a print screen of the original asset like so, copy it, go back to my Word document, paste it, making it a bit smaller. And then I'm going to go back to Photoshop and I'm ready to edit the asset. First of all, I want to get rid of the background. Again, pressing the magic wand tool here. I'm going to click on the background, press delete. That's going to delete away the backgrounds. Control D to deselect. I'm then going to use the crop tool. And I'm going to select the area that I want to keep. I only want this tall spire part here. So I'm just going to really roughly go around it like this. And then I'm going to click the tick here to apply that transformation. As you can see, parts of it are still there that I don't want. Holding Alt, I'm going to scroll forward. I'm going to zoom in. After I've selected the area, I'm going to zoom back in. I'm just going to kind of narrow it to the areas that I want. Like so. Press OK. And then I'm going to go to the magic wand tool. Delete away the parts that I don't want. Press Control D. Scroll out, and then that is now ready to be evidenced. So again, I'm going to go to the print screen tool. I'm going to print screen it, select the area that I've worked on, copy it, go to my Word document, paste it into here. You can see it's a little bit bigger this time. I'm just going to minimize it so it fits on the screen. Dimensions, again, haven't really changed. So I'm going to kind of say here, no changes made. I think they're going to be a suitable size for the final graphic. And then here, I'm going to talk about the wand tool again. I can talk about the crop tool. And I can talk about image resize, which if I'd used that, I would talk about it there. And that is now 2 assets done. You need to complete this for all of your assets so that they are ready to be used in your file. And the last thing, once I've done that, I'm going to go back to my Photoshop file. I'm going to click Save As. I'm going to go back to my prepped assets folder, and I'm going to save it as a PNG, press save, and then press OK, go back to file, press save again, and then I'm going to save it as a PSD, just so if I need to edit it again, press save, press OK, and that is 2 assets done. And you're now going to go complete this for the remaining assets you have collected. This should be about 5 or 6 different assets.